Welcome to True Democrats. It is November 18th, 2020, presidential election year. And we have yet to see President Trump concede this election. He's still going on with frivolous lawsuits that the judges are laughing at. I don't think they're not laughing at it. They're kind of upset and asking Trump's lawyers, asking them if they're kidding with this nonsense that they're bringing in. But the Trump charade, that's all he has his whole life has been a charade. He doesn't know how to do hard work. He doesn't know how to make things, build things from scratch to earn his own money. He's used to scamming people, so these frivolous lawsuits, and that's all he does. He keeps threatening to sue people, and that's what he's good at, and that's what he's doing to no avail. I think the Republicans slowly but surely are saying Joe Biden is going to be our next president, which is a scam within itself. This was it Joe McCarthy or Michael McCarthy from California, the number one guy, I believe, in the House of Representatives for the Republicans, still saying, although I think yesterday, he said that Joe Biden might be our president. But the Republican Party just sank. They are not a governing party. They're a party basically to get power any which way. They don't play by the rules, and they're not playing by democracy's rules. We have these rules in place so that there's a fair contest, and the people of this country get to decide who runs this country. And because the Republicans don't like it, when they lose, they try to cheat and scam and scheme. Unbelievable. Everybody's saying, I say everybody, I'm sounding like President Trump now. Donald Trump is saying that there's been frauds, voting frauds. This election's been a scam, and yet he provides no evidence. But he's got millions of voters backing him up, saying that this election is a fraud. We have Senator Lindsey Graham, who won his senatorial contest in South Carolina, is calling up the Secretary of State in Georgia and telling him to throw votes away. Unbelievable. This is what the Republican Party has come down to, has been to subvert the law, take the law into their own hands, and just the power play. Mitch McConnell did that with the judges, Obama's judges. He waited a whole year until after an election when a Republican president was elected, and it didn't matter. 200 judges in the lower courts, a Supreme Court justice seat empty. That whole year, it didn't matter whether the court system did its job or not. He wanted to put his corporate lawyers into these judge positions so the corporations and big business could have advantages over individuals, citizens of this country. So they do not care about governing. They do not care about how this country is run or should be run. They only care about gaining power. And the fact that they get elected by the electorate, we're in big trouble. This country's on a slow slide on its way down. If you have half the electorate doesn't care whether its politicians play by the rules, if they're under the law, if they act badly or in their own self-interest. If the electorate and the voters don't care about this, we're in big trouble as a country. And right now, they do not. They've put these Republicans back into office, although part of my suspicion is a poor campaign by the Democratic Party in this election. This just doesn't make any sense. And just the idea, not attacking these Republicans did not get the job done to get the Democrats complete control of the government. I always say to myself, this country is too advanced, we're too knowledgeable, we're smart, we're a smart country, but it keeps proving us wrong. And I think that's what the Democrats think also. But they have to start saying that, or believing that the American electorate does not have the time to read newspapers. First of all, they don't believe in newspapers. They don't believe in the media. So it's up to these candidates and the candidates in the Democratic Party to go to the people and make their case on the ground continually, to let people know what these Republicans are all about, that they're there to steal their money, to take away their benefits of which they pay for. They say this country is divided. We're not divided. This country is not divided. The Republicans work to divide this country. That's how they win elections. Racism, anti-American, socialism, that's what they throw. They throw these tags onto the Democratic Party, and it sticks in middle America. What the Democrats have to look at is that we are not two Americans, two Americas. We are not different. There are no two halves. Everybody needs a job, no matter if you're a liberal or conservative. Everybody needs a job. Everybody needs good health insurance. Everybody wants the best schools for their kids. They don't want to go looking around for the best schools. They want the best schools in their neighborhood so that their kids can go to. They want to have secure jobs. They want to have secure and great hospitals next to where they live. They want clean air. They want clean water. This is what everybody wants. They want to have money when they retire so they can do the things that they want to do, whether sit down and do nothing comfortable or travel the world comfortable. They want to have their money retirement safe. Everybody in this country wants that. And everything that I just said what this country wants, the Republicans are against. And that's why they need to divide. The Democrats have got to start spreading the message. Have to start spreading the message that the Republicans are against every voter's best interest. Now, a lot of these folks are going to still go vote Republican because they hate these immigrants so much. They hate the African Americans so much that they're just they don't care about their own interests. They don't care if their health care gets stripped away or if they pay higher premiums. They just got so much hate for these other people, you're not going to turn them. But I guarantee you half of that other half will go to the Democratic Party if you get somebody in there to explain to them that that's what they're there for, to secure your present, to secure your future, and to secure your children's future. We are not that divided. But that should have been done in the election, and the Democrats should have swept into the Senate and into the House of Representatives, and Joe Biden should have swept into the presidency instead of eking it out, although he didn't really eke it out, but we had to count for those last for 2 days or 3 days after the election, longer than that. But he's in a bit of a jam, not only with the Senate. We have a Georgia Senate runoff in January that's going to decide who's going to have power in the Senate and whether this Joe Biden's agenda is going to get passed. But he's in big trouble in the fact that the Republicans constantly, and they do this to the last 2 Democratic presidents, they're going to put a noose around this guy's neck no matter where he goes, and they're going to pull it tighter and tighter and tighter through all 4 years of his administration. The Republicans are going to start nailing him with false accusations, as they did already with this Hunter Biden, and they're talking about continuing. It's funny reading the headlines today. The Republicans are going to continue the investigation of the Hunter Biden mess, but Joe Biden doesn't want to pursue any of the Trump investigations or have investigations under Trump. But he also said he's going to let the Department of Justice handle that. He's going to make sure that they're independent and they'll look into those things and decide on their own, which, okay, that makes sense. But this is a major problem of why the Democrats are not in charge of the government, and they let the Republicans keep running over them consistently every year. But Republicans do this. They lie. They make up committees and do investigations that come up with nothing but it plants a seed in middle America's mind that the Democrats are corrupt and they hate this. So what you have to do as a Democrat is you have to attack and you have to stop. And when you are in charge, you got to start putting these Republicans in front of microphones and cameras and take an oath in front of a committee and ask them, where is the evidence for this? Case in point of what I've always been thinking about is this Senator Charles Grassley from Iowa, head of the Intelligence Committee back in the Iraq War days. And he has he's infected with COVID, so let's hope that he's in his late 80s. Let's hope he has a full recovery. But when he was in charge of the intelligence agency, he was in charge when the people in the Bush-Cheney White House gave away our CIA operatives when they came out and said that there's no evidence that Iraq has any nuclear weapons. And of course, the Bush and Cheney people were so enraged with that because they wanted to do anything they could to start that war in Iraq that they gave away this operative as punishment to her. But of course, giving away CIA operative is an attack on our national security. And nothing happened. I think Scooter Libby got a small sentence for it, but he was a scapegoat. The real problem and the real culprit was this Cheney, who masterminded this whole Iraq war thing. But what the Democrats should have done was, number one, before they went after Cheney, and this is when Obama had all three forms of branches of government, you have to take Charles Grassley, put him in the FBI and say why, or anything, get him in front of cameras, from the House of Representatives, although nobody wants the House of Representatives to investigate the Senate, and the Senate doesn't want anybody investigating them from the House of Representatives. But you need to make these people accountable. And you have to put Charles Grassley in front of the cameras and have him take an oath, whether FBI or somebody, and say, why did you not investigate the naming of the CIA operative fully? And get the reasons for it. That whole Benghazi thing that they blamed Hillary Clinton on when she was Secretary of State. This was in the middle of the Republicans' House and Senate freezing all the funds for all the government. So there was no security in that compound over there in Libya. And the mob attacked, our ambassador got killed, and they went and they blamed it on Clinton. But none of the Democrats came back and fired back to say, no, you stopped all our funds from going over there. We couldn't fund a secure embassy, and this is what happens because of your negligence. And the Republicans are completely negligent because A, they don't want to pay taxes, so they got to cut spending is the way they balance it. And that's what happens. We get into big trouble when you don't spend money in this country. But the Iraq war was based on a lie. And when Obama got into office, he didn't make anybody accountable. He didn't put anybody in front of a committee, take an oath, and say, why did you lie about weapons of mass destruction? Why did you let Osama bin Laden get a free pass? Why did you have thousands of military personnel die and get injured? And all based on a lie and based on trying to get Halliburton oil. You have to, same thing with this Charles Grassley. And there's little things, just nonsense all through the years that the Republicans attacked. The Whitewater investigation from Clinton came up with nothing. For a decade they investigated, came up with nothing. Somebody has to go and say, I forgot who the committee leader was on that, say, why did you come up with this? Where was your evidence? Now they're going to let Trump get away, or they're not going to investigate Trump's malfeasance, Trump's breaking of the law. And there is so much that Trump has done and the Republicans have allowed him to do, that somebody has to be held accountable. And the fact of the matter is, Republicans know that the Democrats are not going to hold them accountable. So they continue to do it. And it's amazing. The Republicans come up with committee after committee after committee, and they come up with nothing. The Republicans keep breaking the law, lying to the American people, keep getting us into wars that shouldn't happen, decimate our military, decimate our economy, create new terrorist groups, and they do nothing. The Democrats do nothing to hold them accountable. And this has got to stop. But it's important that every malfeasance, it's important that every crime that these Republicans attempt, every lie, is put under the microscope and put out there in the open. And a case in point, there's Lindsey Graham saying that the Secretary of State of Georgia should throw away votes. That needs to be investigated. Somebody's got to, in the FBI, somebody's got to put this guy on trial in front of a microphone, make him make an oath on the Bible. And he's got to pay a price for that. That's undermining democracy and the rule of law, and that cannot go on. Joe Biden and his Department of Justice have got to dig into the Trump years, into their family who schemed and lied and got trademarks in China while they put tariffs on our farmers and our steel industry. He had people go in and buy rooms at his hotel, and he would do business with these people. You have to investigate everything, and you have to bring charges and whatever. I mean, whether they get off or not, you have to put it on record and let everybody know. And when this guy says it's a witch hunt, you have to counteract that. The Democrats don't counteract anything, or they don't have a leader to have a voice, a unified voice from this party to say, listen, this is what you're doing. This is wrong. This is not a witch hunt. You don't know what the law is. You broke the law, and witches don't exist. Criminals do, and you're a criminal. And take it from there. But of course, you got a lot of the population who voted for Trump saying that this is voter fraud. This election doesn't count, that the Democrats cheated. Democrats need to come with a unified voice and say, show us the evidence. And of course, the judges are saying that, but it's quiet. They're not out in the street. They're not on the evening news every day. You can't let these judges in a courtroom where nobody has a camera and a microphone do your work for you. As candidates, you got to come out after you took a beating for the House of Representatives. You lost seats in the Trump era. You're struggling to even maintain even 50-50 split in the Senate. You have to come out and say, where is this evidence? Show us facts. We want to get this done. It's more crooked stuff. It's more lies from the Republicans and the Trumps. You have to go out there and show that the people that these guys are liars and cheats. Because if you don't, the middle America, the guy who picks up a bag of money and returns it to his owner, the honest people think and believe that the Democrats are the enemy and are the bad ones. Because nobody's coming out and counterattacking the Republicans' claim. So Joe Biden has to understand that, and he's got to play the perception game better than the Republicans, and he's got to start from day one. He cannot be above the fray, or else you're going to be struggling all 4 years to get anything done. And another nincompoop idiot is going to come up from the Republican ranks and run and beat you based on lies. You have to counteract these lies. And the whole talk now of President Trump running in 2024, it just blows my mind. There is no way that this guy should escape jail time for all the stuff that he did. The Democrats need to strategize, but they have to make sure that this guy pays for his crimes. And you have to counterattack when they say that, oh, this is a witch hunt. You had it in for this Trump, and just show everything that he's done continually, every single day. Show evidence, and in this way, you're going to turn the masses. Somebody in the Democratic Party has got to start planning and strategizing how the whole party can win. And more than that, well, I'll tell you how the whole party wins. You counterattack the Republicans' attacks. So far, the deer in the headlights look that the Democrats have been practicing for 20 years is not doing the job. You have to come up with a different strategy. The news is depressing here for us Democrats every day, but this certainly helps to relieve the pressure. I hope everybody is doing well, and do all you can for those John Ossoff and the Reverend Warnock down in Georgia. They were going against these two Republican incumbents, two of the biggest thieves as well, trading on medical stock when this coronavirus was announced with inside information, and did nothing for the constituents to support and to try to stop the spread of this disease and this virus. These two guys need to go. I mean, they're just a waste. Try to pull your resources and get smarter this time. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have got to go to Georgia. Their agenda depends on it, and they need all the help they can get. Folks, this is Adam Carr. Thank you for joining me again. Take a look at my website, truedemocratsusa.com. You can read the blog posts, watch the videos, and stay well and stay safe. If you like to send me an email, send me a voice message, like to contribute, we'd greatly contribute some little funds to help us keep going. We'd appreciate it immensely. Thank you very much for listening. And until then, this is Adam Carr for True Democrats. Have a pleasant evening.